10s. This is our first video lesson that we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking about photosynthesis and cellular respiration, which is continuing on from what you were learning already about the carbon cycle. So photosynthesis is a process where plants take energy from the sun. They take carbon dioxide out of the air in the atmosphere. They'll pull water up through their roots and they make carbohydrates. So what is actually happening here? Well, carbon dioxide is a chemical that's found in the air. It's what causes our global climate change, amongst other things. It also keeps the planet at an acceptable temperature. Otherwise, we'd probably be very, very cold. So we do need some carbon dioxide in the air. And it's going to bring in water from the roots, and then it's going to do a chemical reaction. This chemical reaction takes energy to make it happen. It's going to need energy from the sun. When this happens, we make something called a carbohydrate. This big chemical here is the formula for glucose, which is a kind of sugar. And carbohydrates are a group of molecules that include things like sugars. So this is a very simple sugar. The other thing that it makes is oxygen, and oxygen is something that we need to survive, so that's a really important thing for us. So this formula here is the general formula for the reaction called photosynthesis. Now, if you see here in this picture, we've got this lovely little picture taken of a leaf. We can see that the sun would shine on the surface of the leaf, and the reason the leaf is green is because inside each of the leaf's cells, there are little tiny organelles, little tiny organs that are called chloroplasts. And inside those chloroplasts is a chemical called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the chemical that actually facilitates this chemical reaction. We need something to kind of help make it go. The water is going to come up into the leaf through the roots. And a lot of times kids say, well, how does the plant breathe? How does it breathe in carbon dioxide? Well, if you can look at a plant's leaf, if you take a look around your house and you find the leaf of a plant, usually you'll find on the back side of the leaf little holes called stomata. That is where the carbon dioxide enters into the leaf from. Now, some leaves have bigger stomata than others. Sometimes they're easier to see. You might be needing a magnifying lens or something like that. But if you can, sometimes you'll see tiny little holes called stomata. Now that's how the carbon dioxide actually gets into the leaf. So the carbon dioxide that the plant is breathing in really only makes up about 0.03% of our atmosphere. It's not a heck of a lot. It does have a lot of impact on our planet, but percentage-wise, it's not a really big part of it. So if the plants are always sucking this carbon dioxide into their leaves to make these sugar molecules, to make these carbohydrates, why aren't we using up the carbon dioxide? Well, there's another process happening in nature at the very same time, and that process is called cellular respiration. Now, animal cells carry out cellular respiration. Actually, so will plant cells at nighttime when the sun's not shining. Cellular respiration is pretty much the exact opposite of photosynthesis. Cellular respiration happens when the cells take the carbohydrates, the sugars that the plants made, and burn it with oxygen. Now, when we did our chemistry unit, we learned that any reaction that had carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only was called a combustion reaction. So this is a combustion reaction. Inside our cells, we actually burn carbohydrates like the glucose from the plants when we eat them. Now, what happens when this combustion reaction happens? Well, we make carbon dioxide. That's what we breathe out every time we exhale. We will also exhale a lot of water. That's also produced during the combustion process. And we make energy. So if you're ever wondering why your body feels warm, it's, well, your cells are actually have little fires going on in them. Now, you're not going to actually have little fires going on with flames shooting up. Inside your cell, you've got a little organelle, a little miniature organ called a mitochondria. And in grade 9, when you studied cells, you probably learned that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's like a little furnace that we have inside our cell. It's this funny potato-shaped looking organelle. When you eat food, the food that you eat gets pulled into your body. It goes into the cells, and it goes into these tiny little organelles. The air that you breathe also gets, the oxygen part of the air that you breathe will also get carried through your blood and also go into these organelles. And inside this chamber, it will be burnt. The combustion reaction will take place. Now that's going to release carbon dioxide that we breathe back out and will be carried back to our lungs to exhale. It'll release water that our bodies will breathe out and also process through other means. And it will release energy. And that energy is what we need in order to do our daily tasks, in order for us to survive. So what we're seeing is we actually have a cycle. These reactions are opposite of each other. The plant makes oxygen and makes sugar. Animals take in that oxygen and the sugar, where they do cellular respiration. The animal then releases carbon dioxide and water. Plants take in carbon dioxide and water, which is where they do photosynthesis. Cellular respiration, photosynthesis. Cellular respiration, photosynthesis. We have a complete cycle. The same materials are cycled and recycled over and over again. And as long as that is the entire system, there will be a balance left in our atmosphere and on our planet. Where the system gets upset is where humans come in and start finding other combustion reactions that puts more carbon dioxide into the air than the plants are actually able to use up. So what I'd like you guys to do today after watching this video is to go to your workbook to task 6. And I would like you guys to complete task 6 in your work package. I will also post a couple of videos that you'll be able to find on YouTube. That will be very helpful for you guys to understand photosynthesis and cellular respiration and their relationship to each other.